Sometimes I'm guilty of overcomplicating things, so today I just want to share one comforting sketchbook spread that you'll want to create over and over again. Welcome back, I'm Christine. This is my friend Mike, but you'll find out more about him later. Grab your sketchbook, get cozy, pull out a few art supplies you haven't touched in a while, and let's get started. So I'm burnt out, severely burnt out. I have ideas and things that I want to create, but when I sit down to make them, they feel a lot harder than they should be. In an effort to combat this icky feeling, I decided to revert back to my comfort subject, tigers. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I love painting tigers. I've painted them so many times that the pattern and the shape is predictable. It feels familiar, and it always feels good every single time. I don't think I've ever had a bad experience painting or drawing a tiger. It's okay if you don't know what your comfort drawing is yet. Most people don't. It's something that you discover as you create and make art. It's not something that you decide. One reason why I know tigers are my comfort subject is because every time I create one, there's a voice in the back of my head saying, another tiger, do another tiger. And I'm like, yes, please, more tigers. I personally need to create a tiger at least, 10 times a year, and then make 2 of those into pieces that I create into art prints. I feel like every single year I've had at least 2 tiger art prints. It has become a thing, and I love it. If you don't know what your comfort drawing is yet, it's okay. Comfort drawings are very similar to comfort food, like chocolate, tacos, candy, things that you eat that make you feel good. So what are the things that you like to create that make you feel good, that give you that tingly, warm, fuzzy feeling inside? Your comfort drawing is usually something that you discover by noticing what do you like to doodle without thinking. What can you imagine in all different shapes and sizes? I'd say keep your mind out of the gutter, but I can't control what your comfort drawing is. There's no wrong choice here. This is just about giving yourself permission to create without pressure. Because I like to be helpful, I created a list of some comfort subjects that people tend to gravitate towards. So you could draw hearts, mushrooms, leaves, feathers, or portraits. There are a lot of people that find comfort in creating random portraits. The portraits can be something that you create from your mind, or you can use a reference. It's up to you. Once I was done drawing my tigers, I decided to fill my sketchbook using these Ohuhu acrylic markers. Drawing the same thing over and over feels good because it just takes the pressure off. I already know what everything looks like, so it's easy to figure out what it'll look like from a different angle. I'm also doing everything very loose. I tried something a little bit different with each tiger. The first tiger, I tried to keep the colors very basic, what you would expect. I just wanted to make it feel relaxed. These are loose, freehand, simplified renderings of tigers. These aren't something that I'm spending hours and hours on. I just want to get down some basic base colors. I want it to resemble and look like a tiger and just have fun experimenting with the shapes that I already understand and that I can just enjoy creating in the moment. And the second tiger, I changed up the perspective a little bit. Only one eye is still visible, which is throwing me off. I struggled with that a little bit, but I did start to incorporate different art supplies. Like I started to use colored pencils and my white gel pens in addition to my purple gel pen, just to have more fun and give more movement to the subject with line. I'm not trying to come up with anything new. I'm just letting my hands do something familiar so that way my brain can rest. If you're feeling a little bit courageous and you've got your sketches complete and you want to fill them in and add some colors, I'm going to invite you to render each drawing using different art supplies and maybe even different art styles, because the scary part is over. You already filled the page with the subject matter that you enjoy creating. So adding color is where the fun begins, and this is usually when your creativity will start to sneak back in. I think you'll start to have fun because I started to have fun. Let's move on to the fourth tiger. I spent the most time on this one because as soon as I started coloring it in, there were just so many shapes and angles that I got lost in, and I didn't even think about being burnt out or being tired at this moment. I was happy experimenting with such an expressive and loose style that I just kept adding more and more layers and detail. Nothing else matters right now. There is something about filling in the mouth with color and using a light blue and then adding different layers on top of that. I experimented a lot with the colors that I used. I didn't want to have harsh contrast, so like before, instead of using black for the inside of the mouth, I used a dark blue and then I colored purple on top with some of my colored pencils. And to tie everything together, I used the same layering for the tiger's stripes. The blue from the mouth guides your eyes up to the tiger's face and expression above. This last tiger, I kept it simple again, but instead of black stripes, I used purple. And once I had my base colors in, I used this light blue to just make it look more like a cartoon and add more interest. One of my new favorite color combinations is orange, purple, and blue. They work very well together. Now that I've successfully completed a whole spread, and I hope you did too, I'm feeling a bit courageous. It's time to try something new. I decided to create a snow leopard. I got an idea for a snow leopard hiding in some snow with shades of blue, and it has these bright bluish eyes for contrast. After I finished my sketch, I pulled out the mini watercolor palette that I got from my Meet and Art calendar, and I started filling in the background. This felt like the perfect opportunity to finally test this little palette and see if the colors were vibrant enough. And they absolutely are. They're beautiful. I'm really only using this darker blue color, but this was just the perfect way to get started on this painting. Watercolor isn't something that I usually use often on my channel, but this year I might start exploring it. I can usually achieve a watercolor-like effect using acrylic paint, but there's something really tempting about having every color I need in the palm of my hand. As you might know, watercolors are very accessible. You can throw them in your bag. You can have a tin full of watercolor palettes and open it up wherever you want to create art. And that's so appealing to me because sometimes dealing with acrylic paint tubes, getting everything set up, the water, the brushes, it's a whole thing. I am looking into more ways to make that easier on myself. I have a couple of ideas that I might share in future videos. However, watercolors just seem a little bit simpler if I just want to create without a lot of prep work. That's why they're appealing to me, and I think that's why a lot of people love using them too. For this snow leopard, I'm intentionally keeping the color palette limited. I found that working with fewer colors helps me when I feel a lot of pressure, especially when I was making this video. A simple palette lets me relax into the painting instead of overthinking how I should mix the colors and what choices I should make. It helps me stay present and just make marks more confidently. One comfort thing that I love to do when I paint animals or any type of subject is that I leave the eyes for last. I do this in every single video. Some artists love to start with the eyes and work their way out. I work my way out and then into the eye. And that's because I have a bad habit of accidentally dragging my arm through wet paint or smudging something along the way. So if I mess up the background, it's usually easy for me to fix. But if I ruin an eye, that can take a lot more time to correct. And then this just makes it nerve-wracking. If you didn't know, snow leopards are native to the rugged high mountain ranges of Central and South Asia. This particular snow leopard comes from the Himalayas, which is full of snow, silence, and survival. It's not a fun place to live. In order for her to survive, she had to learn how to blend into her surroundings and to become invisible. As a result, she never learned how to stand out, only how to disappear. One day, she heard a story about something called the Rainbow Bridge. And this is where Mike comes back in. You see, Mike is from the monster universe, which is a place full of creativity and color. The Rainbow Bridge is currently being restored by 50 artists coming together to celebrate color and creativity. The bridge is being restored one color at a time as each artist creates something using 2 Pantone colors. I'll link the collaboration up top if you want to explore it after this video. Longing for color and self-expression, the snow leopard began searching for a way into the monster universe. She had mastered the art of blending in to survive, but she was ready to explore color and be seen. Finding a portal from the human world isn't easy, but because her world lacked color, she was able to follow tiny sparks of creativity into a cave. And inside that cave was a portal. Excited, she leaped into the portal and was met with a bright flash of light. She made it. But there was one problem. She quickly realized she was lost. Confused by all of the color around her, she had no way of knowing which direction the Rainbow Bridge was, and now she's on a quest to discover more color and creativity. I have a feeling she's going to meet all kinds of monsters on the way. As I'm adding the finishing touches on this beautiful snow leopard, I'm starting to feel relaxed and excited about starting a new story inside of the monster universe. I started this video with a lack of inspiration, but as I worked through it, I found my inspiration again, and now I can't wait to share this new story with you. As always, thank you so much for spending time with me today. I hope that this video inspired you or maybe even put a smile on your face. If you made it to the end of the video, let's get a list going in the comments. What is your favorite comfort sketch? What do you love to draw? Start listing what you enjoy drawing below so other artists can be inspired and figure out what their comfort sketch is. If you'd like to learn more about the Rainbow Bridge, go ahead and check out the playlist that I'm putting on the screen. And I'll see you there.